Oh, hello, hello, hello. This is Happy Valley Hobbies, and these are hobbies that make me happy. And let's see. All right. Seems that Wigwag is the one that gets the cookie today, and he did it yesterday, apparently. However, one odd reason is that it's not showing up in YouTube. So let's refresh it again, see what happens. Well, hello there, Anfield Road. Thank you for coming in. Let's see. Huh. It is not showing up that I'm here. Let's try it this direction. I don't want to sign out. View the channel. Yeah, there it is. Ow. Oop. I have to put this on. Put it on mute. I don't think Wigwag is here. Because if you have the timestamp on, it shows 8:38 p.m. It's not that. It's 6:45. So I'm assuming he did his thing yesterday, because I did wind up scheduling this ahead of time. But yeah, today's episode, if you read the title and all that, is the Amherst Model Railroad Show debriefing. That's one of the things I'm going to try. I'm trying this year is try to come up with actual titles instead of live stream with this date. So I'm adding a date and an actual title. And it was fun. I was only there on Saturday. Basically, I got there. Well, it's one of those things. Is I thought for some reason I had to be there at 10 o'clock, and just the day before, it's like, oh, it's actually 9 o'clock. But just couldn't get my carcass moving that early in the morning because, well, I work second shift, and it is my body is, it's like after working and all that, the body's like going like, hey, you just finished off work, there's another 8 hours you need to be up, and it's like, ugh. But that's the annoying part about it. But I did get some sleep ahead of time. So I was mostly bright-eyed and bushy-tailed when I got there. The thing is that there was as I got closer to Springfield, all of a sudden I got a notification on the car saying that, hey, there's a quicker route. So I turned around and I hit it, and it took me on, I would have to say, the scenic route of getting there, and it wasn't. And then when I actually got to, and I actually had it set up where I was going to gate 1, not gate 9. And because if you looked at gate 9 and all that, it well, hello there, blinked down on it, sorry, caboose. When I got to gate 1, I mean, there was only, they had 3 gates open, and there was only 3 cars, 3 cars ahead of me, the whole thing. So there was only about 9 cars ahead of me. When I finally was able to find a parking spot, it was actually near gate 9, and the line, you can see the line of traffic is just, I wouldn't say a mile long, but it was definitely there. But yeah, that was, and I think a lot of GPSs have everyone going to gate 9, not realizing that you could go gate 1 and I want to say get relatively closer. I'm still not fully aware how the whole parking lot works at Amherst, so I probably could have snuck in a lot closer if I knew parts of what the layout is. And that's one thing I forgot to do. I forgot to put up the task manager. There we go. Task manager. Now this is a new computer, so I'm not really as worried about the task manager as I was with the older one. Because it would turn around and the CPU would pin out at 100, and then all of a sudden it would freeze. That's the best way I can describe it. I mean, it didn't actually crash, but all of a sudden it's like either the hard drive was at 100%, something was at 100%, and it just freeze. So I couldn't do anything. I mean, if the camera was still live and all that, I could, still talk and all that. But if it was really laggy, all of a sudden it would actually turn around and shut everything off. Or not shut everything off, but assume that things, hey, I'm not getting communication. It's like, even though things are communicating, it's, I'm trying to think what the technical term is. It wasn't, the interrupts weren't showing up and all that. So, but, after walking, I think I parked so far away, it was twice the distance of the actual buildings. If you walk from one end of the Living Center to all the way to the Mallory building, I think it was actually that twice as long. That's how far away I was from the parking lot. Hello there, Andy. Thank you for joining from across the pond. Yeah, from there, didn't really buy much. I was, I did sort of, when robbed the ATM on Friday, just like, all right, I'm ready to buy anything and all that, but didn't really see anything that really caught my eye to actually buy. There was somebody I actually wanted to get their business card, but unfortunately I didn't see a business card anywhere, so I'm going to have to try to find out how to do that. And it was basically someone who sold tools. I mean, every tool you can think of. Well, hand tools. They didn't have any, I don't think they had any power tools. I think maybe they might have had a sander or a drill press, but everything else was, it's like, they had a whole rack of just different kinds of glues. They had another rack of different kinds of files. There was, let's see, what was another one? One that had to do with electrical. They had a rolling cart of connectors and switches. So that was pretty neat. I was actually, of course, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like there's probably things I should have bought that I wasn't thinking at the time. But also got I wound up getting some a lot of information actually. And also went to the YouTuber event. Um, apparently, I mean, I only have, according to YouTube, only 133 subscribers, but some of those subscribers are very well-known people, and they know me, so it's like that's sort of kind of cool. Um, had one of them, I think it was, I want to say Almar. He came up next to me. How you doing, ever? And saying, it's like, and after a while, I'm thinking, who is this person? And I think the last time he was on an electric scooter, and I think the last time I saw him, I'm trying to think if he was in a wheelchair or not. He was talking about being in a wheelchair. But the thing is that I think the last time I saw him, he was standing up. So that's what, it didn't really go that way. Well, hello, Randall. Thank you for coming in. You're sort of kind of getting it at the start of the debriefing. Hello there, train buff boy, Corey. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, basically that's the first vendor I saw, and I'm like going like, ooh, I need to get this get this boost information and all that. So it looks like I might have to go through the. Hey, don't worry about it, Corey. It's it's there's. I mean, I have 133 subscribers, but I do not believe probably they subscribed very early on and then just never came back. That's one of the a lot of things that I turn around and do is there's a lot of people with the wrenches on there, and what I do is I know with I sort of do a variation of what Anthony Dodge, the Train Outsider, does. When he sees like, ooh, there's somebody without a blue thing on there, he automatically puts him on as a moderator. I, on the other hand, I sort of have to. I want to see you in chat or in other chats. If I recognize you, then I'll turn around and give you that. And actually, while I'm doing that, see that, and that. Because, I mean, I have seen Anfield Road several times and all that, so I'm making him a moderator. And why is YouTube buffering? Interesting. But yeah, it's like that was a what do I think now? Let's switch cameras. Oh, you don't see the buffering? All right, maybe it's just on my end. All right, let's switch cameras. And as you can see, there's a bunch of stickers. That's what I'm thinking about. It's not a mandatory that I'm going to do this. I'm going to see about maybe having Anthony Dodge's daughter, who's a graphics designer, make me a a logo. I mean, for longest time I was it seems that you got to do everything yourself, and I'm like, you know what, get somebody who's has a clue what to do, and go from there. But as you can see, like, not only stickers, but quote business card that I'm not quite sure what to do with this, but One of the interesting things is that's somebody was also giving out magnets also. But this is sort of the Canadian group here. But yeah, it's one of those things. Everyone was giving out stickers, and it's probably what I'll see about doing this year. This year is having one professionally made. Because I mean, it's. I would have to say I've done. Ooh, got my. Alright. Now that I got my my next screen on. Oh, like thank you, Train Buff, or yeah, Corey. Actually, what I wound up doing is see what I'm doing is 6-foot broad gauge, and I've just recently changed the gauge on this locomotive. Let's see if I can grab a. This is an unmodified locomotive, and as you can see, the wheels are much wider. I got the washers in there, to keep it relatively centered. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to broaden the gauge on the tender. But I'm also thinking about re-gauging this. I got enough. Thing is, it requires extra locomotives to do so. So I had 2 other locomotives, so I can do this one. So all flanged wheels, not have the rubber tire and all that. However, I found out that the blind drivers are not. They seem to be a smaller diameter. Because when putting all 3 to go with flanges on there, this actually can't really tell, but it does rock because apparently the axle box for this is a lot lower. Yeah, the Jupiter. The Jupiter is actually an American type, a 440. This is prototype for Sierra number 3, which is considered the Guinness Book of World Records of the locomotive in the most movies and TV shows. The interesting thing with this specific model is that it's actually OO instead of HO, or double aughts, and so that's so it's actually a narrow gauge engine because it's I believe 176, so it's larger, so they can fit the motor in there. But then they had to narrow gauge everything else, and it comes out almost 6-foot gauge. So that's why I went with this particular model. Originally, I was going to do a different locomotive, but when I took the wheels off, the axle wasn't a solid. It wasn't a solid axle. It actually had a step in the axle. So yeah, it's a pretty cool engine. But now I'm actually seeing about doing other things. Northwest Shortline does have a re-gearing kit for this, but the motor, it's a CAN motor that they replace it with, but the CAN motor is the same size, and so let's grab the unmodified one. But yeah, cover of the back head almost is practically outside the cab. So it's like, how is somebody supposed to actually go into the cab? So so I'm thinking of basically getting all the separate parts and getting a smaller motor or shorter motor. But yeah, it was actually nice seeing people in 3D again. I just happen to realize that a lot of people. I haven't noticed it before, but it's one of those things that people actually look different from watching them on screens and then actually seeing them in person. Let's see. I don't think now. Yeah, these are the sort of the Canadian folk, people who know Humanity Junction. I already have a bunch of stickers of his and all that, but I do not have his Riverside transfer set up. So he was giving that stuff out. Then F&B Rare, they were not only giving out a sticker, but also an electromagnet, but one of these, floppy magnets. Let's see, sounds like particular model is made a little unrealistic with the motor. Well, the thing is, I think this was more. You have models and you have toys. This one, I believe, is more was set up more as a toy, because of how this became into being. From my understanding, I could be completely wrong on this. This was made for a train set, and to promote the TV show Petticoat Junction. Which was sort of, if you look at the action, if you know how the show is and look at the train set, you sort of chuckle because there was a lot more cars in the train set than there was on the show. The show basically had a locomotive and a combine, and remember the train set also had a boxcar, flat car. I could be completely wrong on this. I'm trying to go off on memory. I don't think they had a tank car on it, but it's one of those things that there was a lot more cars with the train set than was with the TV show, and so it's quote unquote Hollywood magic. That's why it's a slightly different scale, so they can get the motor in, and there's a lot of even in the show they were talking about one of the gags is that the firemen kept on grabbing ties to put in the firebox, to burn them. It's like, come on, you can't do that. Eventually you're going to, wind up on it. Yes, this was the show that was in Springfield, Massachusetts. According to the GPS, I am 2 hours and 3 minutes away, depending on traffic. I've been there enough times that right now the drive is sort of I'm not getting lost at this point. I'm also sort of seems every now and then oh dear. Sorry about that. I'm not really driving with my eyes closed, but I haven't. Oh, you live in Massachusetts? Nice. Were you able to actually get to that train show, or because I did wind up meeting a lot of people. I mean, I got all the stickers to prove it. Also, I was on Mini Print's live stream that they put on there. Well, you saved money. But the thing is yeah, Bernard at Mini Prince did a live stream, and the funny thing is that he turned it on there and he's talking about, all right, guys, it's like, get in front of the camera and all that stuff, and all of a sudden all the YouTubers got camera shy for some odd reason. But fun was had, meeting people that I haven't seen since last year. I think that's what it was for me this year. It wasn't really going there to get train stuff and all that, because, well, I got all the parts and pieces that I need at this particular point in at this point in time. So I wasn't really, I didn't really buy much. I think the biggest purchase that I made was this. The reason why I bought this was, for the information of not only the store, but basically the person in charge, and I think his name is Bill Brown. And it's not going to be this year. It's probably going to be next year. Robert Brown, MMR. From what I understand, he's like in his late 80s or something like that, and he's still helping out with this. My thought process is, for next year, once I get everything ironed out and working properly, is to sort of it's like, well, Corey, we're just normal people that just play around with cameras, and every now and then there's that childish banter every now and then, but oh, wait a second, I'm not quite sure if I actually got that in shot. But yeah, I'm actually for this. I'm actually seeing about doing an article about this broad gauge experiment for the April issue, because, well, April Fools. But they did say, after talking, says, well, not only it says narrow gauge, but it also says short line. It's like, well, yes, it's definitely a short line. Right now, I want to say you're probably looking at just under half of the entire layout. So, but the funny thing is that when we first got when we started meeting with people and all that, Heath from Hanny Junction, when I actually wasn't there, he showed up late. I think it was him and Bernard that started doing these YouTube meetups. Then there's and this is for the N Scale Train Boy, who along with others is starting the Model Train People Discord server. They actually were meeting up for at the first time, so that was pretty interesting seeing there. One of their leaders is also named he goes by Eddie, I go by Ed, so I made the obligatory joke of two Eds are better than one, but I think that particular group doesn't really have a lot of stickers at this point. This actually put in my wallet because, as you can see with the Balfour and in Galucci Creek Southern. That's a little fragile, so I actually put that in my wallet. Everything else went in my pockets. Um, but as I said, I'm actually, it's not a, oh my God, I need to get this done, but having a professionally made setup, and spread the love around. Let's see, and yeah, that's all the stickers that I've gotten. This is a trackside mic. I mean, he had two. One of the interesting things that I've learned with going to these YouTuber meets is you have no sense of scale with people, and I'm like with trackside Mike. When I see him on the YouTube and all that, he looks to me about my size. But then when you actually see him in person, he's at least, I was gonna say at least 6, but not necessarily 12 inches shorter than I am. Same thing with Go Veer or Go Home. I'm not sure if because of lack of sunlight, up in Canada, that people grow shorter. I could be wrong. There was somebody else that I saw that I recognized, and I'm still blanking out on their name. Clark. Yeah. Now I finally, now that it's been 2 days later, I finally remember his name. He's a very well known MMR or model railroader, model master railroader. I used to he would show up for New Tracks modeling, and it's one of those things of going like, I'm looking at him going like, I know that guy. He's a famous guy. I can't think of his name. Brad. Fun size. Yeah, that's definitely fun size. But pretty cool guys and all that. Didn't really talk to Mike that much because he was helping along with Chris from Go Via Go Home. They were helping out Otter Valley, selling stuff and all that. One of the it's one of those things that's annoying, but at the same time it saves on the wallet. That when you're doing something niche like 1876, there's not much. They don't. The main industry does not really cater to those specific setups. But at the same time, it saves you money because, well, there's not as much out there as there could be. Apparently, Athearn is coming out with a new steam engine, which might. It's not Civil War era, but it's also not turn of the century. So the locomotive looks a little bit larger. It's a Mogul, a 260. But of course, unfortunately, it's a new. It's a new American or 484, but they had at this show they also had a 260. So my assumption is it's the same. It's the same boiler, but they have a different chassis underneath it, so they can have the 260 instead of 040. And I want to say, and it's one of those copy paste things that even the actual manufacturers, they're building the actual locomotives did. There's a lot of times there's copy and paste. So copy copy and paste is not that new a concept. There's a lot of new concepts that are not that are a lot older than a lot of people realize. But I'm trying to think, what else did I buy? I bought food, which it's food. I'm actually thinking maybe next time, bringing my own food or something like that, because I was not impressed with the food. But let's see that. Oh, I did. Where do I have that? We have that anywhere. I did wind up getting. Here we are. One of the things is like picking up a lot of information. Here's the whole thing. I knew about the NMRA celebrating their 90th year, but I didn't realize that Lionel was doing 125. And let's see if I can show what the name of that company is. Welcome, Business Center. All right. Trying to think, where did I wasn't the Mallory first. I think it might have been the Young. Yeah. Came in through here on the Young, number 70. What is 7? Go through here, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70. Yeah. There's 80, there's 90, there's 40. There's 38. There's 20. I'm trying to do this as fast as I can. 150, 160, 140, 50. I'll have to look for it later, because I'm not picking up on it right off the bat. No, I'm not finding 7. I found 77, 72, 78. There's 70. All right. B&B Hobby Supplies. But one of the first things I wound up doing was finding out information on one of the things I'm in the process of doing is building a well, as I was saying earlier, it was pretty pretty good train show. Great electric train. 40 YouTubers. Well, I'm getting the impression that Amherst is so large that there's probably a bunch of different YouTuber groups that have gotten together, but they don't know about each other. Because I had seen a lot of people walking around with their cell phones, so I'm assuming that there's a lot of people. Some of them were just the cell phones. There was a couple that had gimbals on there, and So it's one of those things of maybe when I have stickers and all that, I might, if I notice somebody doing the whole thing and all that, turn around and we had it organized properly. Gotcha. That explains why you had a larger group. The groups that I almost want to say like with the model train people, it's like they're more of a Discord server, but it's one of those things of we did wind up introducing them to Heath. They've been one of the members of the group, I guess, have been bouncing back and forth with Heath and all that. It's like, oh, get to actually see you live. But one of the things of what I want to see about doing is doing a covered truss bridge, and this is a picture of a covered truss bridge. A covered bridge, would have a whole roof that would go over the entire thing. Where this is only covering the truss itself. This particular one did not cover the outside bracing, but I've also seen ones where they have the outside bracing covered. I come to think of it, I actually might do it with the things uncovered. Of course, I'm assuming the uncovered ones, didn't quite last as long as the fully covered ones, but they were also cheaper because you weren't covering them over. But yeah, this, I think it's this one. Oh, they even got a picture on the back of the. Is it the other side? Or it's the same side? I think it's the same side. Same side, different part of the year. But the interesting thing is that the sides are actually taller than the locomotive, or the whole train and all that. So when you go across it, you're just looking at a wall of wood. Let's see. I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the one that actually goes in and goes to the whole pictures of what it is. I believe it's I want to say a Howe truss bridge. I'm planning on doing a queen post bridge. So it'll have angles for this direction also. But originally this was apparently a standard gauge bridge. They turned around, they narrowed everything out. So it would be for the 2-foot gauge. And I was talking to the guy about broad gauge. I have to realize after a while, it's like, oh, he's considering standard gauge garage. No, I'm doing 6-foot gauge. He's like, oh, you're doing it. I was like, you are doing broad gauge. So that was a little fun interaction there. But yeah, this is the Trout Brook Bridge for their extension. And they go through the whole process of how they've, I guess, went from here and then slowly made it nicer all for the mountain extension. Of course, obviously the actual bridge was a little was the most I guess the highest repair, I guess. Because everything else, if you look through this, it's all about culverts and refilling stuff, and so that was the easy part. But then the bridge, here's a steel culvert and all that. Basically unburied it, reburied it, and all that fun stuff. And then Yeah, I guess this bridge they were trying to. It had gotten burnt, and they were trying their best to resave it and all that. And then it was at a point where I guess they didn't know what to do with the bridge. The ones that restored it, so they were like going like, so they had. So I think they just like had it piled somewhere. And then it was at that time they were the railroad was looking for a bridge, and I guess there was somebody that knew the two different groups, and they knew about this bridge, and they also knew that they were looking. The railroad was looking for a bridge, so they turned around and got everyone together to say, "Hey, this is what's going on," and oh, I thought they've. Okay, I did not realize that. Apparently, they built it up as an actual bridge, and then slowly brought it to the location. And as you can see, the bridge is basically as wide as the road. So, and I haven't read the whole article yet, but that's one thing I will be doing. Yeah, I think the article itself is for the whole mountain extension. It's just that the bridge was the biggest part of it. And this one, I think this is literally no, it's not the current one. I thought it was. Let's see. I'm not quite sure why I picked this one up, but they actually had a whole bunch of different ones and all that. And as you can see, this is much thinner than the bridge one. But these are all the different stickers that I gotten. This is Go Via Go Home. These two are Trackside Mike. This is the Otter Valley Railroad, which had their own booth. This is Heath from Humanity Junction. Now, and this is Dennis from N-Scale Train Boy, which is also with the group that had the Discord server group. And these two, unfortunately, I'm going to blank on them. This is F&B Railroad. I'm blanking on the guy's name because what I do know is that the F&B is actually his and his wife's middle initial. So, and I'm like, trying to remember what that is. Sorry for. I'm usually not very good with names, so if I got your name, it's probably because either you have it in your name, like Corey does, or Andy, or I've been talking to you and people have been referring your name. This is I'm trying to think now. Georgia. Is it SGB? So I'm thinking, I know G is the Georgia, and I'm blanking on what the. Probably thinking, I'm assuming Southern Georgia, but what the B is, I'm blanking on. But he's someone that he is somebody that I see a lot in the chat and etc. And as I said, apparently YouTubers that are a lot more subscribers than me, recognize who I am. So it's like, yay, I guess. Georgia Sunbelt. Thank you, Andy. If I remember correctly, he does YouTube videos, but it's you don't see him, I don't think. Anthony. All right, another Anthony. Well, it's sort of like I almost like every now and then I watch Jack, but usually not. He's always live. But I want to say he's always live, but he's usually not in front of the camera. So I'm assuming, Randall, that you are on the road, because it seems every time I turn around, you're on the road. But yeah, it's I would have to say the Amherst show. If you've never been there before, I would say plan the full 2 days. Maybe maybe the first 3 or 4 times, you have to sort of like do, not even the first five times, you have to sort of like do all the, yeah, actually in the hotel. So you're I'm trying to think what the term is. Because you're not working, but you're at work. So, but yeah, it was a nice show. It was nice to actually see people at bar out shop. Gotcha. All right. Haven't been out in 3 days. All right. Standby. Yeah, that's one of those things is, technically you're not at work, but you're not really at home either. So standby it is. But yeah, it's like the 2 hour plus minutes drive. I would say it's not getting boring, but it's now, I've been doing it so many times now. It's no longer interesting. I'm sort of at times sort of kind of zoning out. It's like, yeah, this is whatever, and just keep right on going. But I actually didn't see that much of this era. I'm not quite sure if I just wasn't really looking, or wasn't really looking, because right now I have enough parts and pieces and all that to keep me out of trouble for a while. So yeah, that's why I didn't really buy that much. It was actually nice to just get information. As I said, I do have a diorama that I basically got the groundwork on it. Not sure how well this is going to show up, but I do have a diorama that covered truss bridge is going to go on. I sort of put this on hold. There's a canal on it. The covered truss bridge will be going over the canal, and then there's a short trestle on the other side. Probably once I fix some of the details on this and get this running properly, then I'll start working back on that. Yes, a very, very, very niche, which is annoying when you're trying to do something, but at the same time, it saves you money, because there's nothing really out there. But I had to say, being so niche at the same time, if I write an article about it, it's like they'll be like going like, "Ooh, this is different." Because a lot of times, it's like, "Oh, somebody's doing the New York Central again." Insert very very quite not necessarily boring, but it's someone can do a fantastic job and then somebody else do not such a fantastic job, and if the person who did the fantastic job submitted their article after the one that didn't do such a great job, there's the possibility of the person that didn't do a great job would get published. But then when somebody did something great, it's like, it's being stuck. Imagine being stuck. Let's see. Being stuck on an island far away from the market. Yeah, pretty much. I was actually surprised that this is. I was expecting this to be hard to modify, but it wound up being a lot easier. I mean, the major modification I did was take this air tank and then scrape it so there was clearance for the rear wheel, and take the crosshead and squish it at least a 45 angle to get around the clearance on this, and then take the main rods and basically flip them so they were on the outside of the crosshead instead of inside. And that's the only modifications and then that, and also lengthen the put all new axles on it. But that's all I've done with this. I thought this like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, and it's like, no, this is a standard gauge locomotive, but it's 176 scale, so they actually had to engineer it so it was narrow gauge. So when I went and broadened the gauge on it, it brought it back, pretty much, I want to say almost back to being standard gauge. But once I get this thing properly working, trucks on this, then I'm going to have to turn around and modify it to be more 1776. One is annoyingly, they did at that time they did have air pumps, so I don't have to take any of the piping and everything for the air pump. I can leave that on there. It might be out of scale, but the thing is that it's a bigger engine. They could turn around and easily put a bigger pump on there. It did not have electricity though, so I got to figure out how to take the dynamo off, which is on. Unlike the other one, the rest of it, which is a simple cylinder, that's on the conical course. So it's one of those things that not only take it off, but also try to make it so it's sort of flat, or maybe put something else there, move the bell there so it's a lot less obvious or something. Another thing is that I'm going to see about doing is replacing the headlight, because the headlight is, being 176 scale, it's, obviously a little bit larger than what it should be. So having a smaller headlight on there will also make it look larger. Sort of like when you get a 2-foot gauge, when you have a 2-foot gauge locomotive, but they use the same headlight, it looks ridiculously large. And with broad gauge locomotives, it's basically the opposite. You have to make it smaller. Not sure if I want to change the bell to make it smaller. It's like, because you can turn around and have a big bell. Another thing is metal cabs were not a actually, I'm not actually aiming for a balloon stack. With this one, I'm actually I've seen them called sunflower stacks, where it's still like a very narrow portion, but then the very top, it goes out like a sunflower. Um, Mainly because of, as you can see here, this has the extended firebox. And yeah, actually might. I would have to look at locomotives that still have that kettle pot stack. Okay, all right. I'm assuming there's many different names for the for all the different ones. Some of them probably by the manufacturers themselves. Sometimes whoever just happens to wind up naming the convention. Let's see. Actually, here do have an undecorated version over here. Yeah, this one has the not a true. I don't want to say a true balloon stack because it's not as balloon stacks I usually think are much bigger on the top, looking actually like a more like a hot air balloon. Hence the reason why I think they're called balloon stacks. That needs to go back over here so we don't lose that part. Yeah, I also wound up talking with Christopher First Course, who owns Congoino Models. I do have a bunch of his cars and buildings. Most of the this is his 24-foot boxcar. The interesting thing is with this is that he was making the flat car, which is the basis for it. And he wound up making a 30, I think it's a 36. He had a 36-inch flat car, and he made a boxcar out of it. And I went and I asked him, I said, "Can you make the 24-foot boxcar into one?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure," and all that. And he made this, and then all of a sudden he's making cabooses and all sorts of things with the 25-foot boxcar. His latest one is that it's a sort of like an ice cream shack, so there's no wheels or couplers with it. But they have a door, window, and all that, was what things that you would expect from an ice cream store. I think he's also made different versions of cabooses and etc. Yes, this is the one that was used on Petticoat Junction. And the thing, from my understanding, this model came out because of the TV show. They wanted to promote it and all that, so they went to Mantua at the time and said, "Hey, can you make us a Petticoat Junction version of this?" The interesting thing is, I don't think I ever actually came across an actual Petticoat Junction label locomotive. Again, Denver Herrera Grand. Oh, wait a second. I'm trying to think now. Let's see. It's 1936. I'm actually trying to remember what the name of the railroad is. So I do have a tender. I actually got the locomotive somewhere. It just got separated from the thing. But I'm trying to think, is that the name of the railroad that it was connected to? Or supposed to be connected to, but the trestle gave out? Let's see, there's that one, there's that one. Nah, it's the locomotive came off of says Iron Horse, not the Cannonball or Hooterville Cannonball. So, since I rarely have seen Hooterville Cannonball, I'm assuming that the train sets didn't really sell much. Yeah, I know a lot of times people are trying to put figure out what the real railroad that the Cannonball was on. But it's one of those things. It's a fictional railroad. Of course, there's no actual locations. Yeah, I don't even think it says. It doesn't even mention what state that they're in. Same thing with Green Acres and Beverly Hillbillies, which were technically the it's not a cinematic universe because I don't think they really made movies. They made for TV movies. Beverly Hillbillies did get an actual movie, but it wasn't until towards the end that they actually had. There was I think a Christmas special where they had everyone from all the different TV shows in one particular setup. But well, it is almost time at the top of the hour. I'm not quite sure who is doing Sidetrack Sunday. I think DB Tech had already done his. But this is, I think, the 5th month. So whoever's in charge of the 5th month is whoever is in charge of the 5th week is on that particular setup. Switch over. Shaky camera. All right. Back to the webcam. Ta-da! Okay. So let's see. There we go. But yeah, I would have to say I had fun at Amherst. Didn't buy much, but it was actually nice to meet people and new people. I was also on Bernard's live stream a couple of times. One actually sitting in front of the camera. He's not using StreamYard, so it's one of those things that going like, "Hey, what is this?" Like it. With StreamYard, the chat is over here. With this particular one, which was using a dark mode, so it wasn't really bright. It was very dark, and I think the chat was on this side, but it wasn't a chronological chat. It was showing individual people, how they're working, so I didn't really see as many. And that's what was confusing. I did see Sparky was on there. James from the Dundas Railroad was on there. And that's the only... And Grandpa Rails. So those are the only 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. As I said, it was the user interface was something I was not used to. But let's see. Okay, okay, that's why I have to go this way. All right, let's see. Maybe whoever's on Sidetrack Sunday will be up in time. All right, it's PKNW. I modeled the carbon black industry. 6 are watching right now, but I'm assuming it's because they're waiting. Because I believe it's supposed to start at 8. No, he's actually live now. So I will see everyone there. My outro is, I believe everyone, the world needs more love. So find your passion, add some silliness to it, and spread it around. Bye, everyone.